Hello and welcome to the Sacred Gates. It's Allura here, and today I'm just going to experiment with more of a podcast kind of episode and just see how that goes. Just been experimenting a bit more lately in many areas of the Sacred Gates and what we do, so it's always good to try out new things. And I remember once a dance teacher told me something that I always loved what he said, but it's like adding fresh water to the stream, just to mix things up a bit and try out new things. So today on YouTube today, I wanted to post a video just on what generally happens, I would say, for all practitioners, no matter what practice you're doing, when whatever art it is that you're into, modality, methods, whatever it is, that when you begin your practice, when you first sit down or stand up to do your Qigong, your Reiki, your Prana, Yama, your whatever it is, your meditation practice, if you've bought the products from the Sacred Gates, you may be doing the body practices that we do, whatever it is that you're practicing and your art, that just simply because we're human, by sitting down or standing up or honing into ourselves and quietening ourselves and starting our practice, there's this experience that seems to greet us, and it doesn't feel like a very nice greeting. It's like you suddenly feel all of this sediment floating. Sediment's normally at the bottom, actually, of just say a jar of water with something in it. Sediment doesn't normally, it can float at the top, but I find that when I sit to do Tayshara or lie to do Tayshara or stand to do Tayshara, or whatever your practices you're doing, there's this grittiness, there's this residue, there's this accumulation of matter, of phenomena, of sensation, thought. And generally one can have an aversion to this feeling simply because it just doesn't feel smooth, it doesn't feel harmonious, it doesn't feel comfortable. There's not really an effortlessness to the consciousness of that residue that's there. And it's like it's kind of, for me, when I wake up in the morning, I'll often feel this experience, like in the nighttime, there's been a processing of all the unconscious, the subconscious, and what wasn't processed in the day. And there's a sense of like there's been some sorting out, and there's a residue of all of that. There's reactions from the day, there's reactions, subconscious reactions from the night to process in the morning. Some people like to wake up and have a shower. Oftentimes this may be an unconscious response to having been in the astral, very active, consciously or unconsciously, and for many it's unconscious, and washing away the residues of the astral body collected over in the evening, in the sleep time. So this also happens when we sit to do inner work. When we sit, the body has a lot of reactivity, a lot of constrictions, contractions, and so does the mental body, and of course our emotional body too. And so when we sit, we experience this layer, like residue or sediment, that doesn't feel good, that we have an aversion to. And often, if your discipline is not strong enough, if you don't know how to relax through it, or you don't notice it consciously, this residue, it can cause you to have enough aversion, enough dislike, right, for this moment, for this practice, that you stop practicing, or you enter the wrong gate for your practice. For example, you might have two memories of practicing your art. One is that you walked through the right gate and it was amazing, just say it was really connected, you were surrendering, you were letting go, you were receiving and absorbing, which is what healing is all about. You were processing, releasing, everything was mechanically going really well, that you'd entered through the correct gate for what you're doing there with your private practice. And there's the other example of walking through kind of the wrong gate for that experience, and It can often happen at this very beginning time of your practice when you have this residue, this accumulation point of all the matter and phenomena, right? That can be quite busy or dense or gritty. That's a great word. I love that word, gritty. It can feel like lots of reaction, lots of unsettled, uncomforting yuckiness. And if you stick with your practice, if you follow the principles, the methodologies, what's working for you, from your art, from your teacher, or if you're tuning into the sacred gates and following the principles that we work with, then you're going to move through this accumulation, you're going to move through this grittiness, and by applying yourself skillfully, you're going to be able to soften and release yourself through and transform through releasing, through letting go, that layer, that accumulation, that sediment, that residue that you feel. And what you'll find is that it kind of like burns away. It's a little bit like grey clouds. And as the sun just gently radiates itself, almost effortlessly, just being present, just being bare awareness, bare sun right there. And it just applying its quality of sun, of warmth, of heat, eventually these grey clouds disperse, they thin out, they dissolve, and they actually disappear. And then the whole environment's flooded with the sun there. And so this is what can happen in your meditation if you allow yourself to dedicate your intent. So it's a balance between intent and letting go, releasing through these sediments, this accumulation, this residue. And you'll find that if you get through it, you've actually entered through the gate. The actual process of just kind of gently being with that aversive feeling, the grittiness, just letting it be there while you have the intent to apply those principles of release, that you do find yourself moving through that sacred gate into your practice, and you come through that grittiness, and the grittiness dissolves. And then it's a really good practice, and you must do it if you want to have a consistent practice where you're moving through the sacred gates into the states of being that you're working with, that you're wanting to develop, and that are developing you. And you'll find the more you try to disperse this grittiness, that's not the point. It's not about trying to disperse it. It's just dedicating yourself to the principles, setting your intention to follow those, to surrender to those. So no matter what practice you're doing, like I always give the examples of Qigong, Reiki, I always go through the same ones, but there's many, yoga, whatever it is, breathing techniques, your own open eye meditation, closed eye meditation, tantric, anything, meditation, tantra. These practices we do, whatever they are, they're always based on surrendering, on letting go to higher powers, to higher principles. And that's where we're able to develop our mind and our body and our emotions, our spirit can raise us. We experience our multidimensional by walking through these gates, but we need to let go. So if you're trying to let go of the residue, it does create more tension. Have you noticed that? More constriction, more reaction. Have you noticed that? Just the trying of it, trying to do these things can create more tension and can actually send you through a different gate. So I think it's just sometimes enough as a practitioner to know that when you begin, there's this layer, and to just simply know that, relax and follow your practice, follow the principles, and notice how it works. It's very mechanical. That's what's awesome about it. You can really rely on your founding principles of your practice. And of course, these are universal laws. So when you release and relax and soften your muscles, you soften your awareness, things happen, things transform, they let go. And so you're more likely going to experience that moving through that gateway as you release the residue, that accumulation, that sediment there. And please leave in the comments below if you also find as you practice that this happens to you as well. Please share any tips, perspectives, insights about this, because your comments can help other practitioners who also experience this. It'd be interesting to see. And thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, if you would like to receive information, practices that help to develop your healer's consciousness and then your healer's body. Because once you've developed the healer's consciousness, or you're in a process of developing your healer's consciousness, The healer's body is just a natural effect of that cause, and it helps you to become a better practitioner for yourself, a more developed conduit for healing itself, for you, your friends, your family, your clients, depending if you're running a business there, and for the whole planet, for your children around you, your pets, plants. You become a better conduit. So developing your physical body and your mental body, emotional body as a healer. If you're interested in that, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye for now.